Hello everyone, I got back from church and found out that that colony of mine that had swarmed decided to do in front of our eyes and what's called an after swarm. It's a round two swarm. They had so many bees that the new queen came out and she decided to take another bunch out for a swarm. The good news is they all landed right on the branch of a bush. I'm actually in the neighbor's backyard. So I'm going to approach this one of two ways. I should be able to capture this because it's obviously right in my arm's reach. Best case scenario, if I find the queen crawling around on here, they tend to be on the outside, so I hear. If I nab her, I could put her in a little queen cage and put her in a hive box, and the rest of the colony will follow her. If I can't, well, at least this branch, I could probably just cut it off at the base and shake them all into a box and get it taken care of there. But so one way or the other, I don't think I'll lose these bees, and I just created myself a new colony. Yay me. So I'm gonna get to work, see if I could find her, and work on my plan B if that doesn't happen. The interesting thing that bees are doing, though, is you see this guy dancing around, the waggle dance. Just missed him. That's what happens, you always turn around. But if you're watching around, people have heard of the famous waggle dance for identifying honey, where they go around, wiggle their abdomen, go in figure 8 circles to show the direction and distance where their site is. When there's a swarm, those are actually scout bees that are advertising, there's a good example, potential sites that bees are finding. There's a few of them are going out, they examine the space, and based on the enthusiasm and length of the dance, they actually use the waggle dance to advertise for possible sites for this swarm to go to. And what that means is, and once some other bees go out and confirm it, eventually, in the beginning it's a free-for-all and everybody's advertising whatever they found, but eventually it becomes more and more of a consensus. And once everybody's waggling in the same direction, look at that waggle dance, yeah, that shows that they all decide that that's the best spot for them to move into the hive. And I'm not experienced on this. This is the direction of the waggle dance is relative to the angle of the sun, and there's so much distance between the duration of the waggle depends upon what the distance is. I'm not great at that. Some experienced beekeepers could literally find the spot they're advertising just from the waggle, drive over there and find it. But I'm going to ruin their plans, and I'm going to just saw this whole branch off because I haven't found the queen, and we will drop them in there. Okay, I just sawed off the branch. It did disturb the bees somewhat. I mean, I'm kind of putting the branch sawed off right back to where it was, but I shook the bees into this box with the lid, and as you can see, it's quite chaotic at the moment. There's probably a third of them in there and the rest of them are out, but just playing the odds that if the queen bee, who really cannot fly around a whole lot, she's kind of tired and she won't be spending more time in the air, but if I did get her in there, these guys should find their way in there. There's a couple frames in this box, so there's something to grab onto, and they should follow her scent in there to make their way in, and then I'll transfer this over to an empty hive box where hopefully they will find their way in. But I just have to wait and see what's going on with these guys. They all started first crawling out, but the queen's in there. They can't leave without the queen, so we'll see. Alright, after a few minutes, they seem like they are crowding around this box. So my next step is I want to move it into an actual hive box. I'm going to put one right nearby over here just so they can have that access, and maybe we'll put a time-lapse camera on there to see what ends up happening. Wish I could show you this stuff in real time, but it's just me, so I have to use both my hands to manage this stuff, but I'm showing you the progress. Much more chaos has ensued as I threw a bunch of these bees in there, but now I have the hive and a whole bunch of bees still swarming around, quickly agitated, so I'm hoping the queen isn't amongst them, but we'll see. Now this is where it really becomes important to find out whether I trapped her in here still or is she among the flyers. But we'll see here. The shakedown didn't work. I threw a bunch of bees in there. Don't see them all congregating there, but I saw the swarm reassemble there. So I'm going to try one more time with a smaller branch to cut it off and throw it all into this box and see what happens. Got a few branches cut off, and this is actually turning out to be a bit of a positive sign. That, yeah, of course there's some bees still flying around here trying to figure out what happened with where they're perching, but I took two big branches, well, not big, but two larger branches where they're consolidated, just threw them right into the box. I took this third one down here to essentially just place it there and see what they're doing. But see the bees, what they're doing now? Some of them are fanning their wings. That is emitting a pheromone, sorry, called Nasonoff pheromone, and that is when there's disruption to signal to other bees, this is the way to go, come over here. And I don't think they'd be doing that if the queen wasn't in there. So I'm going to leave this bee for a little bit, but I think we got ourselves a capture. And I will probably move this box over to my property, just right across this fence, just so they're apt to find it a little more easily. And then I'll check on it later on and see if I have myself a split colony here. But so far so good. It doesn't look like they're leaving. It seems like there's less and less of them on the outside. Well, kind of in a hurry today. This was not something I had all the time in the world for, but I decided to just move the hive from that side of the house where I was working with the swarm capture to right here, and it actually looks like success. I'm taking everything out. Look at this, a bunch of happy bees in here. Probably could use a couple extra frames, right? Get all these guys in there, set up to maximum effectiveness. But we've got ourselves a bunch of bees that don't look like they are ready to go anywhere, which is encouraging. Just slowly moving these frames over so that they have room. Trying not to squish bees in the process. I swear they're so smart, but sometimes so dumb. It's like, I'm about to move these together. Can you just get out of the way? But, alright, so ultimately what this means is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 2 more frames. Ultimately, this means I have 6 colonies again. Yay me. Because I didn't have all of this extra time to even manage the 5. Now I'm back. But, alright, let's just get a lid on these. I'm just going to let them settle in and get themselves oriented. The other bees that never found their way in here, that were still hanging around that bush, they're either going to follow the scent here into this new hive, or they're just going to give up and move back to the old place. That's kind of how it works. If a swarm loses the queen bee, they have no place to go, because obviously they can't continue to replicate and raise new babies, so they would go back. But either way, someone's going to find a home, and a Sunday afternoon problem solved.